when was it ever constructive when trying to invigorate change in any space, even a sport? When is it ever constructive to start with a list of negative items? You start with what's functioning, and then you go with what needs to improve. So you start immediately with this paradigm of what absolutely isn't happening. You say, you're not doing this. You're not doing this. And the inverse, if you started a discussion like that in your relationship with a woman, you immediately came in talking about what she's not doing and her failures, that conversation would end very quickly.
It's a wrap.
Or you would be talking to yourself. It'd be the Charlie Brown teacher, womp, womp, womp. That's all she would be hearing. So when I hear and read articles like that, I don't believe that the author, goes back to what you're saying, is coming in with a genuine intent on creating a pathway to communication. See, it's different. They're equating black men and black maleness to that white patriarchy. Like, we can legitimately look at our history in this country and say, man, white people ain't did shit for us. You know what I mean? We can legitimately say that. We could say you started on a faulty premise and promises and you've never fulfilled them, and there's been equity never. Right? So to frame that argument in the exact same way where you could talk about the most oppressive regime in the history of the world, and to frame that on black men is just completely disingenuous. It's completely disingenuous. And it's not to say that there are places where you can apply some of those things to where there's some failures in black men. This is not to say that we are beyond fault. That's not what this is saying, not at all.
Hell no. Hell no.
Because we got a whole ass segment called Sucking Shit. We know. It's a gang of suckers out there. It's a gang of suckers out there, and we're dealing with on a daily basis. And guess what? We hate those niggas too. Because they're out there fucking it up for the rest of us.
There you go.
They're out there fucking it up for the rest of us. So here we are coming in with our genuine shit, and you can't even recognize it because you've been dealing, because your optics are fucked up. You don't have the ocular cavity to see it. And I'm giving you a pass because you've been dwelling in the kingdom of suckerdom, and I'm giving you that pass, and I'm saying I'm gonna give it a minute, and I'm gonna let my shit shine, and eventually you're gonna open them eyes up and see it.
That's the kingdom of suckerdom. It's right up the street from Circus. Over there by Excalibur.
Man.
So let's look at it this way, a little concept. I believe that we have lost to some extent the concept of building together as man and woman. You talk to many young ladies, college age. Well, what would you want your man to make? Oh, I want him to make 80 grand. I want him to make 100 grand. At 21, 22, you're not gonna be making that kind of money, most people. We used to have a concept, you get together, you build, buy your house, have your family, and then you saw grandma and granddad, they looked back after being together and they had the house and all the grandkids are there and they, oh, that's cool how they did it. But what we didn't learn the lesson was that started 40 years ago and they built that together. See, you want protection? Let's take this journey and you ride, okay? And we go through these steps together. You my partner in crime, going through all these levels and all these stages. You know what kind of fealty you develop for a person like that? That sees you all the way through? Right?
Yeah.
What we want, or what we're operating off of is this man's already made. And you want to jump into that situation and insert yourself. Well, you're not the ride or die. You're an accessory, no different than the car in the garage. or the watch on his wrist or his nice pair of shoes, you're part of his overall profile. You're another acquisition, right?
You know what he does.
So you're not gonna get the same level of protection in that situation from that man, because it's not the same emotion. It's not the same thing inside of him, right? We have to be able to build together. We've been sold a lie. We don't chase love. We don't chase love. We love money. We love material. We love what people can do for us. Okay? So people talk about black love. We're not going after black love. We go after a whole lot of black lust. We go after a whole lot of black hustle. We go after a whole lot of black coming up. All right? I remember being described as he went to school here. He has his house here. He makes this much every year. Oh, he's a great guy. Wow. And that shit don't even go together.
Right.
When you describe nothing that amounts to character in that whole space.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also I heard this today. This is not mine. This analogy is not mine. I heard it, but it was apropos. So it's like meeting someone who's fat on their weight loss journey. So do you say, I don't want them because they're fat? Or do you say, you know what? I see them on their journey. I met them on their journey. And we gonna be together. And we gonna, over time, because that's a time thing. Over time, that person gonna get healthier. So that person's gonna be in a spot at a weight where they feel, they should be. But you meet them when they fat, right? Mm-hmm. So the question is, do men want women that's thin? Do women want cats who already went through their weight loss journey? Or do they want the fat dude, in college, what I'm saying, who ain't got the career started yet? This man is building. And let's take college out of it. We already talked about before about redefining manhood. My manhood journey may not include college.
Maybe starting your own business.
Maybe starting your own business.
Maybe trade school.
Hey,
maybe the military. I wouldn't advise it, but it may be the military.
Hey, it works for some folks, man.
Yeah.
I got a couple of dudes that's done retired from the military, and it's done worked out for them. But so the question is, do our women want us to be on the other end of the fat journey? Can they take us when we're fat?
My immediate response to that is, as men, and this may sound callous, but we can't concern ourselves with that.
I agree.
As men,
we just got to grind.
We got to get on the business of the journey.
Lions
vision,
concern themselves with the opinions of sheep,
and
vision and purpose,
and whoever will come will come.
Yep.
Okay, and that's men included. The club is always going to be more full than the library.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we love a party. Hell. Side note, somebody said to me, "Oh, y'all don't disagree enough." I said, "We disagree all the time, but you're not used to listening to nuance. You want some world star shit where I throw this microphone at Rennie, okay? And you also not used to seeing how black men should get along."
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? But, all we got to do is crank up some music, maybe do some stupid ass dances, But no, we're trying to have adult conversations. We keep it light. I joke, I play, but when we talking about a serious topic, it's a serious topic. I'm talking about our families, man, and the future of our relationships. Okay?
We disagree all the time.
We disagree all the damn time if you're really listening. Okay? You can't even be my friend and agree with me half the time.
Real talk.
But to answer your question, yes, there's work on both sides. I believe in the protection of my family.
Absolutely.
Okay? I believe that it's my responsibility to provide certain things to my family that only I can provide. Nobody else can do the job that I can do. okay, for the people that I love, the people that I brought into this world. They didn't ask for, okay? And for the future Mrs. Towns, she's going to be protected, okay? She will be provided for. That's how that works. But there's an understanding and an agreement on both parties. There's a responsibility on your end to get that. And what I'm not seeing is okay, people say, oh, I bring to the table, and they start telling me about their job like I care about the white guy you work for.
Right. Right.
Me, you and him ain't laying in bed together. Me, you and him ain't gonna be in the house.
Well, see, there's another term out here we got to deal with, right? And which doesn't seem to, we don't shine a light on it, and it's hypergamy, right? So women level up, right? That dude they dated in college, you know, most of the ones that we know, and we know a couple of dudes who they met they women in college. Those women are chilling because they stuck with that dude, right? And they built with that dude, just like you said. I ain't gonna call them names, but we know a few dudes who, you know, these couples, man, they stuck it out. There are some women, we also know women who dated dudes in college and left them dudes in college to level up. They not together, right? So who's that on? Decision making, judgment, choices. So when we talk about decision making, judgment, and choices, hey man, everybody got to be held accountable to their choices and their decisions. And oftentimes, we as black men get held accountable for everybody's choices. It ain't fair, but what do we say? It's not our problem. We ain't dealing with fairness. We just dealing with our responsibility right now, and that's cool. We'll take that shit. We'll take the slings and arrows, you know, for our communities, for our families, for the protection, for the provisions. Let's also recognize that there is a thing called a level up, and men didn't create it.
Well, you know that
because we'll talk to the chicken, the cashier at Popeyes. So that's another story.
Well, you will before you went vegan. Especially if you get some wings out the deal. I'll let you
extra
boy.
fries, right?
Give me that Cajun. Take some of that Cajun.
Extra ranch.
None of this is 100%.
Right.
Okay. Two out of the 3 men that appear before you are divorced. Okay. Relationships, you know, you take chances.
Damn, but all have been married.
Yes, all have been married. Relationships, you take chances. But what would bring about the greatest chance of success is what we're talking about. And what will be better in terms of the effectiveness for mass numbers and a greater community. I can already hear people saying, well, that's not true for me. Okay, so my next question is, are you the exception or the rule? Okay, so what's the rule among us? Okay, you tell me about your life.
What's the
and I
data
say,
point?
what's 80%, 20%? Where do you fall? Well, I fall in the 20. Okay, I understand specific to your life, you have to handle certain things. But what's been working and not working for us as a people? There has to be a lot of redefining. One of the things that affects our relationships is our definition of success.
There it is.
Our definition of success is not something that's defined by us.
Right.
So how can we have a successful relationship? I joke about it all the time. I tell you, I said, like, you know, some people define that success by how many white people's names they could wear at one time. And they can't tell you, I got on my hat. It's got to be, I got on my insert French name here. And then on this, insert Italian name. Okay? You ain't left Florida. You ain't never been outside of Tallahassee.
Can't even pronounce nothing.
You can't even spell Tallahassee. Okay?
Born and raised.
Yeah, you got like, who wants to be a millionaire? You calling in on the helpline trying to get an L. You know, so you can spell Tallahassee, but you want to wear 27 people's names and you think that's success. No.
Right.
One of the most successful examples of relationship, my grandmother and grandfather, they couldn't tell you what a designer nothing was, okay? But 8 kids, okay, grandkids, went through everything, came out of the segregated South, out here to California, and built a family. Generations later, okay, we have successful folks in my family, got a couple millionaires in my family, PhDs, college degrees, businesses, whatever you want. And you know, we got some thugs too. Got a couple 5 to 10s.
80-20, man.
Yeah, we got a balance. But success.
Yeah, right.
Okay? And that's what I'm saying. And who would judge them by material? Right. Look at the fruit of the tree. Ugh. But what are we chasing? We're not chasing the fruit of the tree.
And who's defining that?
Exactly. We don't get to define that.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And we've got to create a metric. You know, and
speak on it.
Create that metric, and that metric has to be based in things of substance. And back to our principles. You know, and not a metric where you're in a constant comparative to someone else's metric or accomplishments, because your path is very different. I mean, you could use some nuance and say, you know, maybe I need to be more pressing and devote more time to specific things and whatnot. I need more focus. I could use examples from other people. I can learn from their shared successes and failures and adopt those things accordingly. But at the same time, what is our metric? And then back to stop operating constantly from a negative paradigm when dealing with each other. Stop telling me about the shit that I'm not doing, because if I'm real, I already know what I'm not doing. I know what I'm failing at. I know that.
Yes, because when you're on your vision and your purpose, and I think I love when you said, what's the metric? We got to define the metric. Because when you're on your vision and purpose, then you define your metric, right? So if I am looking to contribute and add value not only to myself but to my family and to my great grandkids, then I'm doing things that put me in a position to where my great grandkids benefit. So therefore, you know, just an example. This ain't the thing, but just an example that, you know, Em and I put together a life insurance policy, right? So don't be trying to set her up, you know. It's both of us, so it's, you know,
no come up,
no come up. But if something happened to us, then, you know, our kids get tax-free money, right? A place to build from, a place where they could say, I got a place to live, and, you know, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. You know, now I can be on my purpose and my vision, right? And so from there, then that sets up their kids, do the same, set up that same thing. And so there's a practice that my mother never knew about. My father, I'm still talking to my father about the insurance game. But because I'm on a purpose, I'm like, yo, how do we set this thing up? Then the information comes to you. That's just my shit. But, you know, there's other shit that men, that you guys have learned, that have come into your lives because you're on your purpose and your vision, that when you recognize, you like, that fits, that's an alignment. This right here, right? And so that creates the metric. So who's got to come up with the metric? Who redefines it? Shit, we do.
Now that was high level. That was high level right there. You know, I know we're getting towards the end. So I'm gonna say it like this.
Put a bow on it.
I'm gonna say it like this.
Close us out.
I don't understand. You said fairness, because we know it's not fair. Let me give you an example. I stand 5'9", okay? Kinda. Right? No, actually I am 5'9". It's a wide body. But I stand 5'9". I've heard I've heard, oh no, you too short. I'd never date anybody that short, right? Now, a lot of times this woman be 5'3", 5'4", you know. So why can't I say, well, you know, I never date nobody as ugly as you. You know, why can't I say, well, you too big for me? You know, or why can't I say, oh, I only want a woman with natural hair? So if it's not offensive, right, for you to comment on my height and say, well, that's my standard, why is my standard offensive to you if we were concerned about balance and fairness? Because we're not. We're concerned about getting our way and what we want, and also while doing the least amount of work to get it.
And the next one, we'll be talking about the concept of settling.
Oh, we will be talking. Write that down before I forget to settle.
Why you never heard talking about, man, like we had to settle. We'll unpack that.
Yeah, we'll get there. Go ahead.
No, because I was telling Rob this joke real quick. I was telling Rob this joke, and it's not mine. I was watching this old TV show on FX called Justified, and an old dude was laying in a hospital bed, and his wife was out in the parking lot. Okay, he was talking to his son. She was out smoking. She comes in. He says, "What was you doing out there so long?" She said, "I was giving blowjobs for money in the parking lot." And he says, "Was you paying, or were they paying you?"
And on that note, I gotta say, hey, thank you Ram, thank you JT with the period, thank you Leland, thank you.
Dope T-shirt, by the way.
Thank you, Debo.
Hey, get yours. We got them in, hot off the presses. Skinny Blacks Lounge. Big ups to Eric Dixon, E Dix. Big up to my man. Infinite Reflections on the music, man. We got some new music. If y'all ain't peeped that out. My man Dio on the boards. Check him out on his IG. Everybody's information will be up. Big up to Tally and Twine. Thanks for the watch. Newt Mall, the whole thing, man. Hey, the list is getting long, but there it is. So tune in next time.